Right, I'm joined this evening at Dreamcatcher Radio with Derek Chapman, who's kindly offered to do an interview for you guys and for us. So the first question, or the first segment, Derek, is you've had quite a journey from serving in the RAF to now in the late 70s to become a mind coach and a hypnotherapist and a best-selling author. Well, what was life really like for you back in the RAF days?
Well, thanks for offering to interview me anyway, Carl.
You're welcome.
Be here and talking about myself. Well, what a good subject. No, I'm not an egotist really. Well, the RAF. I joined the RAF in 1977, so that's like a few years ago. Like I said to you before you see me, I'm younger than I appear. I'm 67 at the end of the year, and I want to remain quite young at heart. And I think I always have been, really. I don't take things too seriously, especially the RAF. That's why I didn't really sort of fit into that sort of mould, even though my dad was in the army for like 22 years. So I came from a military family, and you're sort of actually bound to join the RAF. Well, that's what I did, because he came out of the army in 1975, and the unemployment was quite high there, so I joined the RAF. It was okay. There was a big problem there, though.
It's quite good
because when I joined, I was 17 or 18 years old, and I found my identity. I was actually a gay man who was in the RAF, and now back in the 70s, it's almost like taboo. It's almost like it's the worst crime known to man.
Yeah.
These days everyone comes out, don't they? And they was going through a stage where if you weren't gay, it was quite popular to be gay, But when I was 18, it was not a good thing. Even these days, I'm sure people struggle with it. But those days, it was pretty bad, especially when you knew that if they found out you were gay, you would get court-martialed.
Right. Okay.
And put in prison first.
Wow.
Lose your rank and stuff, so it's not. And so you had that sort of. It was almost like the sort of guillotine waiting for it to happen.
So was you in hiding from it?
Psychologically, yeah. I was a straight guy, So there's people who are very sort of macho. Watch out for them, because I used to be one myself.
And what did you do in the RAF? What was your kind of role?
I was in catering. I was a steward.
Okay. And what regiment was your father in?
Oh, he was in the army. He was in the Royal Artillery. Yeah, 16 Defence.
So a bit like me, you said you had a military upbringing. Did you travel the world to different places with barracks or?
I was born in Germany.
So was I. Yeah.
Over. And what else? I've never lived in a place more than. God, it was we moved to 11 different schools before I went to my secondary school. And I was so imagine going to a school, you meet your friends, and they say, "Oh, by the way, we've got to move." I thought I just met those friends, so. It didn't sort of bode well with me, so I went to a boarding school, and because it was quite good, so you could sort of be in an established sort of situation. You can have friends around you anyway.
And was your dad a tough soldier?
Very. And as a kid, you believe that, but my dad had a real soft heart, But he hid this. He was an RSM type, sergeant.
Yeah.
And I thought, I could never tell my dad I was gay. Do you know how I came out to my parents, actually? God, I might do this on the air, but it's real. Everyone wears their laundry in public, don't they? Dirty linen, but I don't care. I've got nothing to hide. So I told my mum, it was like, because I remember I was watching The Naked Civil Servant with my father years ago, John Hurt. I don't even, you can remember it? I don't know.
I can't remember that.
If people are watching, Google it. It's a guy who's quenching crispets about his story.
Right.
He was a campus man in England at the time. And he was walking, imagine back in the 30s, he was like wearing, not that I'm on camp or stuff like that, but he was wearing like rouge and makeup and walking down the street in the high street in full blaze, and people are calling him queer and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
Bringing his shoulders like this with a big sort of feather boa.
Look at me.
Yeah, but I mean, he was quite strong in some respects. So I said, I remember my dad said, whatever happens, if I come home from work and you end like him, I'll kick you out of the house.
Oh wow! So that leads nicely on to the next question, as in, you describe that period in the RAF of having to hide and being a macho man.
Yeah.
But what were you hiding from the most, and what was going on internally? So that's that kind of thing about your dad then.
I think probably upsetting my father, to be honest.
Yeah.
But when I did tell him, I think when I was 21. 3 years later, because I said my mum, I went to my mum first, and I said, by the way, Mum, what's wrong with you? Because he kept going about his women. No one knew I was gay from the family. I said, I'm not really into them. What do you mean? I said, well, I'm gay. What do you mean, you're happy? Well, not particularly. I fancy men. Well, all men? Just, no, not particularly all men, do you know what I mean? And then she, that's fine, it's okay, no problem. And apparently she collapsed in the hallway.
Right.
And I said, what if you do, though? Don't tell Dad, because he'll probably kick me out of the house. So when my dad actually said, well, we had this, discussion, he said, so your mum tells me, he comes from Yorkshire, my dad, your mum said, hey, that's okay. So what are you trying to tell me? You like to dress up in women's clothes? Oh, Dad, this is how behind they were in those days.
Yeah, exactly.
And, no, not that. He said, oh, right. And then I said, he was okay about it, really. But he said, I was more upset about the fact you thought that I'd kick you out of the home, because it means nothing to me.
Do you think the RF experience shapes the man you've become, or was it all about showing you what you didn't want to be?
Well, I suppose it didn't. It gave me the resources to be resourceful in most situations, which is, I think, in any career you've got, anything you've experienced, you always bring it to another career, don't you? I used to be a DJ in the RAF, so that was quite good as well, spinning the decks. Like I said, the Rode microphone and all that sort of jazz, it gives you a bit of the knowledge you can use now type stuff.
Yeah, so cool. So we're going to go on to your first song here. You said you've chosen the Elton John song. Mm-hmm. And is there a reason for this song?
I think it meant a lot, because at the time I was a fan of Elton John, I still am, and in those days he was bi, because he couldn't even say he was gay.
Yeah,
that's how bad times were, because he knew he was gay, but if you said you were bi, it was like a North popular flavour. So, and he was like revealing a part of himself. If you listen to the song, it's quite emotional. It's like he's showing a part of himself. He's not showing the part he wants to be, and that sort of resonated. If you dive deep in the song, so that's why I picked that song. It's a fantastic record. It never ages, and it's like a timeless song, really.
Yeah. Your job now, Derek, is you help people overcome kind of anxiety, addictions, traumas. What inspired you to go down to help others?
Well, it's like all those things. I wake up today and I do it. But having said that, though, like I said to you, throughout my life, because I've been pondering these questions, when I was back in the RAF, in the day, there was a thing called CB radio. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Okay. I was at a mountain on the side and plugging the jukebox, 10-10, to do it again, break, drive, gone. But I found I was quite good on the radio. And but what I could do is get the skill of, oh, my nan's here in the room, but she's a bit frightened of this. So I get the nan on to speak.
Right.
I can't believe I speak to it. It's amazing. So I had the ability, I never knew I had it, to make people feel normal or just okay, if you know what I mean. Because she wouldn't do it in a minute. I'll go and put her on. It won't bite you. It's only a microphone. And then they're speaking and they're quite calm. So in those days, I had the ability to get people coming out their shell type thing. So I think CB radio did that for me. And I remember it became so popular because I was at Rise Norton, and we used to call it the Cage Town Breakers Club. And we started this Breakers Club, and I was the chairman of the Breakers Club. I think I was quite ambitious, I suppose, and I never did things by half. I wanted to go big styly, but I was quite fair. So I was like, so they voted me the chairman. But the first week I said, listen, I was quite sort of, you must be a politician, so you can vote for your own chairman, really. But they voted for me again, and. There was like thousands of these people, well not thousands, there was hundreds of people turn up to this Cage Town thing. So we used a local pub and I negotiated like £1. There was a penny on a pint. So there was no cost, That was quite good. And then we had these meetups and stuff every Sunday, and it became bigger and bigger. And I remember going to sing on a fancy dress, and I going as Adamant.
Oh, wow.
It's sloshed, yeah. So it's like it was a good time, really.
Where did you take this? Where did the journey come into hypnotherapy or the coaching work that you do now?
Well, it happened a few years later. A lot of years later. I mean, I went to when I left the RAF. When was that? 1984. And I worked in so many different places. I worked in sales, marketing. I worked for really great companies. I go to these companies because I study things really deeply, like. How to answer difficult interview questions and stuff like this, and I became absorbed into learning more stuff. So I go to these interviews and they'd be like, this real swanky place. I remember this place that used to intimidate me, but I thought, I can do this, do you know what I mean? I was bullshit myself really, but I just did it, but I did.
Fake it till you make it.
Sort of, but then you have to do the job. So
Yes.
what I used to do, and then under the interview, and it was like the head office of BP in Stockley Park. I don't know if you're in Stockley Park in London. It's now Apple headquarters in UK.
Right.
It's such an impressive, this big Stockley Park 4 and Stockley Park 5, and they're massive buildings with like it's like a greenhouse, or you know what I mean, like tiles and stuff.
Mm.
And I thought, I can't do this job. Of course you bloody can. I just walked in there, handed the CV, met this woman, and we got on great, because I think she was a bit like me in some respect. It was like, she came from up north, actually, yeah, near Sheffield, so there'd be an instant sort of rapport. That comes from Sheffield. And yeah, we got on great, and yeah, we were good for each other, I think, and I got the job there. I don't know how it's going with that conversation, but in other words, I was working like in high-end places, like, it was such a high-end corporation that we were working in, like blue chip things in those days, that they said, get yourself some suits on the company. I said, what, you get yourself some Armani suits? I said, well, Emporium or Giorgio? And they said, Giorgio, dear. So I had to go to Mayfair to get these Giorgio Armani, and they were like £3,500 then. The company paying for it. So it was I landed on my feet. It was like 10 minutes from work where I lived. I could actually walk to work if I wanted to. It was great. So it was almost like, it wasn't like the universe, but it was in some respect. I thought I wanted a job because I used to travel all the way to Oxford Street from West Drayton on a tube, and it wasn't much fun really.
Yeah.
Work in Oxford Street. Oh, how boring that was. Not very nice. As a trainee manager. I don't know, I must be about, I think, 25. So I formed a catering company, my own catering company. So we did, our first, after finishing with the BP, I was working for a contract catering company at Henley College, the Henley College, yeah? And it's called the Henley College, and I was a catering manager there, looking after these different areas of business. And then that contract finished, and I thought, sod this for a lark, and fed up being made redundant. So I formed my own catering company called DJ's Catering, and the first contract was at Holmes Place Health Clubs, which is in West London, Ealing. Mm-hmm. It was taken over by Virgin, bought them. But I mean, at the time, so we went to this place, and I love food, so it was like you had a bar. And you had you could run functions there. It's like a coffee bar, really, but in a big, massive area. Yeah. And then we went there with about the sixth catering company to be in there that month, and everyone's going, "Oh God, not another one." But I had experienced life here, and I have a passion for food. And the guy said, "I think you can do this," and yeah, I do too. So in the first week, because my experience of running DJs, yeah. And having on party, the first thing we called a purple pumpkin party. That was Halloween. Right. Not the average one. It was a purple pumpkin. Yeah. And the kids who work for us, behind the bar and stuff, and they work for the art things. So they do all the graphics and stuff. And back in the day, that was quite high tech, to do with like a little laminate, and we put it on everyone's locker. And the intrigue came. And the first night, about 500 people turned up to this purple pumpkin party. And I was like, what's happening here? And then. In that first year, this is 1994, by the way, we turned over so much money that Ealing Chamber and Commerce, not that we're in Ealing Chamber and Commerce, said he won the second business award for the most turnover any business has ever had, because we were doing the business was doing I think £250 a week. We turned it to, £3,500 a week. We'd open a restaurant. Oof, bad news. Right. So we fell out with them to a certain degree because the rules kept on changing. So we had this restaurant, and the restaurant was in Acton High Street. Now, some people may recognise it if they hear this podcast. It was called DJ's Brasserie. Right. In 256 High Street, Acton. That was going quite well. But the trouble is with me, it's like I trusted people too much, and I was in a business partnership. My partner was supposed to be looking after all the accounts, Right. I had this sort of belief I wasn't great at maths and stuff like that, so don't we? You do all the accounts, I'll do the recipes, the menus, and all the ideas, and they were really great. But then one day I said he became very quiet, and I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "The VAT are after us." He's British, by the way, and I said, "Why? You don't pay the VAT for months." So let you off. So he did a runner, went to Spain, And I thought, I'm not going to do a runner because I'm quite honest. So I'm going to face the music. So I think I joined an individual voluntary arrangement. That was like in '94, and then I set the record straight. So then I lived in the basement of my restaurant so all I do, I used to have a bath and shower around people's house, the waitress's house, for about 6 or 7 months. So I got myself back on my feet. But I knew the clients, the customers' clients, but there were customers really nice, and they knew the score. They said, okay, no problem. I know somebody who works at the Allied Bank. They'll give you an account. So I got an account from them. I'm slowly, my credit went up. The business went up as well. And I was doing really well. And then I got fed up with that, and I met the wrong sort of person. And then one day I just walked away from it all, gave them the keys, and I left. And then I went back to, what did I go back to? In sales and marketing. I did that for about, I think, seven years, day in, day out. It was local from here, so in Grimsby, long story short, met my partner online, and we've been together for 24 years this year. And I remember following this guy, Joseph Clough, and I thought, he's really good, him. And he sort of resonated with me and that sort of jazz. I hate the word resonate, by the way, but I just throw it in. It just felt right. And then so I thought, I have to go and see this guy. And he's doing a seminar with his dad in where was it? In Cambridge. And he doesn't do it anymore. He's moved to America. And I remember it was the 13th of October, 2013. Unlucky for some. And it was like, but it was lucky for me because I knew they were going to pick one person in this audience for this transformation.
Right.
I've told this on many podcasts, so I will tell it the same. I won't embellish it, but I'll just make it, So I'm sat in the I'm thinking, my God, pick me. And there's 60 people here, and he's going around about how the unconscious mind works and the conscious mind. There's a bit of logic to this, I suppose. And I was Mr. Skeptical, I really was. I thought, this load of hunkum, this stuff. And when you think about
was this a hypnotherapy training? Was just
I was there as it's called Be Your Potential.
Okay, so it's like a workshop.
It's like a workshop. You do your 2-day thing, and they're going to pick somebody, and then later on they'll advertise. You can become a hypnotherapist. Well,
okay.
That's how it all happens if you think about it. But then if you experience the change yourself, well then you just know. Because I knew what I was like before. I was quite a negative Nora, noddy. But it's like I can be so negative at times, And when people are doing anxiety, folks, and I know you say you have it, but when they're doing it, they're quite negative.
Yeah.
And so I thought, will this work for me? I just don't bloody know. And I've read all these reviews, it could be fake. Do you know what I mean? You're so skeptical about everything. I don't know. Yeah. He seems okay. He seems on the level, and he used to blush and stuff like that. So he's a real human being,
Yeah. And he's with his dad.
What's that again?
And he's with his dad.
His dad was a hypnotherapist too. He could have hypnotised him. Completely hypnotising us. And anyway, so I remember those immortal. But what convinced me was this: there's 60 people in this room. I'm sat there, and he goes, "Now we're going to pick only one person here." And I think, God, please be me, please be me. And he's talking about, about the subconscious mind. It's like it tries to protect us as much as it can, even though it's crap. We'll go seek comfort in familiar.
Yeah.
We'll seek comfort in that familiar, whether it's drugs or booze. It's familiar, you know what I mean? Or even that bar of chocolate is familiar. Not nice, but familiar. And there's a part of you wants to be free from all that lot. You do this like circle. Mm-hmm. The part of you wants to be out of that, but when you take that little step, it can feel really uncomfortable. Like I say to my clients, when you're feeling uncomfortable, you're changing. If you're feeling comfort, there's no change, is there, really?
Yeah.
And when you have a change, it's not like, ooh, fireworks. Sometimes it's not. And so he said, does anyone here feel they're not good enough? And I'm not kidding him. When he said that, it was like, whoosh, this feeling just came out. So, that's not wrong. And does anyone here feel they're not good enough, they're not worthy? Oh, God, that feeling was there. It was like a whoosh. It came from the stomach all the way to the throat. And does anyone here want a change? Well, I thought, that's what I'm believing here. And does anyone want to feel more confidence? I thought, well, who doesn't want to feel more confidence?
Yeah.
Does anyone want an undeniable process now to let go of all that stuff with my hand shot up in the air? I thought, hallelujah. And I thought, Derek, your hand is in the air. Take that bloody hand down. Your boots. And I wasn't going to scratch my head, but I thought, no. My dad came from Sheffield, and I heard his voice. You paid £99 here, son. Value for money. That's the only reason why that hand was still. Plus the fact that if I put that hand down,
money's worth.
Yeah, that's it. If I pull the hand down, everyone would notice. It went past that point of no return.
Yeah.
And the rest was literally history. I went to the stage, and I looked back down at the audience, and I thought, my God, I wish I was back over there again. I was very uncomfortable. And I think he just said to me, what would it mean for you to change today? He was like vetting me now, whether I was ready to change, was I at threshold?
Yeah.
I could have cried on that stage. He said, no, it's okay, you can hold, I can see it means a lot, because my eyes were starting to water. And that's how much I wanted to change. If he knew how much I wanted to change, I came all the way, we drove away from Cambridge, and we live in Grimsby, it's like about a 4 hours drive, and oh God, I've been studying for the last few months, that's how determined I was to change. And anyway, not just, oh, can you change me? I really wanted to change. So, and he said to me, oh, okay, no problem, we got it. He said, just close your eyes. I thought, thank God, those people aren't staring at me there, because their eyes were boring him. 189 balls staring at you, that's not what you're feeling. Judge, you see. And it took about 20 minutes to process, and afterwards he sort of challenged me as whether I'd changed or not, and I came back, yeah. He said, well, you're not good enough. I said, well, I am.
I am, nice.
No, you're not. No, you're not good enough. He said, I am. No, I don't think you are. I said, listen, bollocks. And the audience started to laugh, and I thought, well, they're on my side now. So I thought, yeah, bollocks, yeah. I am. End of. Next. And then afterwards I got off the stage, and I'm going to say this, I'm cured. Not that I had anything wrong. You know what I mean?
Did they record that with Watch?
Yeah, I've got the recording of it, yeah.
Ah, so even when you look back on it now, you know the different person that first went up there to the person.
Yeah, I know the techniques he's using and stuff like that. He's using anchors and stuff like that. So I know exactly what he's doing, and it's like, it's very conversational, but it's very, very good, you know. But the thing, he had a real willing client that wanted to change.
Yes.
If I said to some of the girl who had this, she followed my footsteps, the same course as what we did and stuff like that, and she says, I thought I saw your change. I thought it was amazing, you know. And she's not doing it now. She's sort of couldn't get clients and stuff. Because I think it does take a lot of. You've got to have that thing, you know, the restaurant thing and the determination. Because people can easily quit doing this job. They have a tricky client. They go, oh, I'm not very good. I better learn some more. Like I said to Carl before we came onto the air, I've spent probably £160,000 on different trainings, because you get these clients and they go, and they're hard work, and you think, I need to learn more. And the more you learn, it's good to learn stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself, you know, and recognise it's not you sometimes, it could be them. Yeah. The thing is, you're led to believe that there's no such thing as inflexible, you know, that's all true. Yeah, if you want to see my clients, I get that some can be nightmares.
What kind of people do you tend to work with now, and what's the biggest misunderstandings that people have about being able to change?
That they've got to take years and talk about it for weeks and months. I saw a guy actually, the same thing. It's like this young lad came to see me, 25-ish, gambling his whole wage packet every week, yeah? Like £5,000 for the last 3 months or whatever. And his partner said, well, yeah, that's you fixed, 4 sessions, you were done 6 hours. And she said, well, surely it should take longer than that. Because there was no trust, you see, because she didn't trust him, blah, blah, as it really worked, and he was like confident as hell now, and he really liked himself. Because I think about the main issue with most people, they don't like themselves. Even though they say, like you said, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you like yourself? 75. I said, 75, and yet you've been gambling? You haven't told your missus?
Yeah.
Is it really 75? He says, no, not really. It's probably about -2 when I'm doing that shit. But the window shopping thing's 75, you know what I mean? So it's like a palatable number. Yeah, but it's not real. And what's it like now, really? It's about 80, and I'm quite happy with that, because I can always improve. That's the difference.
So is that the kind of people you get mostly off with? Is it addiction, or do you just you work with kinds of people? Most
people with any sort of issue, to be honest. I mean, I heard last week about, what was the one? He was allergic to mobile phones, and we got him over that.
Mobile phones? Wow.
Only because he went to the garage, and the garage guy recommended him to me. Oh, I've been to it, he'll sort you out though. But it was like mobile phone. It was like he was having a physical reaction to any sort of sensation, like a mobile phone or solar power things, cars and stuff like that. Anything that was almost like. But I think all he'd done, I said, I think this is sort of like an anchor. He said, what do you mean like an anchor? So you anchor yourself. Anything you time to that thing, your mind anchors it. You know? Oh, really? I think, what do we do with him? I think I've shown you how his mind worked really, and it was like, oh yeah, I never realised that. And I said, on the scale, what I do with my clients, I give them like an assessment of how they're coping in life. And you think the guy is very good, he's pretty sorted, quite chilled, on the surface, on a scale, and this will it'll give you like a personality type trait and stuff like that, but it's quite in depth. It shows you how they're sabotaging themselves, really. So I think his top one was hypervigilant. He scored about 9. Victim was way at the bottom, thank God for that, because it's like pulling teeth. And you could see he was hypervigilant, but he was an avoider as well. Not a good combo. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, I managed to do that thing. Well, how did that happen? I don't know. But so he's pushing himself more and more to do the thing he thought he couldn't do. And he says, I can't believe it. In actual fact, I said, well, go to that garage. And you used to go to various garages and you'd be freaked out by the atmosphere there. But, I went, it was okay. So I think miracles do, it's not a miracle, but when the mind changes, it takes to put his foot off that accelerator. He goes in cruise control mode on his metaphor,
And I was absolutely fascinated by this. So it's great to have a conversation with the creator, because I'm interested in, where did the idea come from?
Well, basically, it was somebody else's idea, but that I improved. I've actually, I don't know it was their idea, but it's like the meta pattern, You go in 3 different, it's like, there's the problem, step out the problem, and that sort of jazz. It's a meta thing.
Yeah.
But when you use it as, I thought, how can I make it easier that someone can understand, especially kids? Well, kids can imagine, using their imagination greater, but it came about the Russian doll technique. It was like 3 different doll type things. So you can get it in my head. And it's like, you can stand in a spot, that's cool, but if you can imagine going to a tiny Russian doll, it's better, or a large one. There's more to it. There's more substance, if you like. And I remember the time, so I used that on myself. That's why I know it worked. Because
I know it works. I use it myself. I used it on my wife last week, and she said, I love standing the bigger doll because I feel that I've got all the space to think.
Yeah, and
as that metaphor.
Right, as you're in that large doll now, close your eyes, notice all the space around you.
Yes.
The people in their tiny Russian, when they did it beforehand, said, notice where my mind's racing and all this sort of jazz. And as you're in the large one, notice how those thoughts, with all that space, are beginning to calm down. Because you've got so much space.
Yeah. So if there's any practitioners or therapists that are listening to the radio here and they want to train in this method, I highly recommend. Do you still sell the course?
Yeah, but it's on my grimsbyhypnotherapy.co.uk.
Yeah. And it was a great course because you was updating it every so often and putting in different sessions, because that's the beauty I liked about the course. She was actually working, and we can witness the change in people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so recently I've used it with different, I used it with that guy, I was mentioning about the phobia, what do you call it? He had a phobia really of electronics and stuff like that. And that's sort of, I'm not saying it kills or cures, but it opens the doorway to people saying, I can change. And change doesn't have to take years and talk therapy. I worked with a counsellor, a trainee counsellor. She loved it. I said, usually with clients, less talking. But I like to talk. But so the Russian, it came about because my father had dementia and Alzheimer's, and he was in a home. I thought, how the hell can I cope with this? But I mentioned that on the course, didn't I? Sure, I must do.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, well, it's like, but he was dying, but he was on his last legs. So he was in a home. And every week we go and see my dad, and I say, bye Dad, and he go, can I come with you? I thought, oh God, it was heavy. The horrendous feeling it was like having a puppy dog and giving it back every weekend.
Yeah.
Look at those sad little eyes. And it was horrible. I thought, how can I cope with this? But I thought, as I step out of the situation, I thought, what am I doing to myself here? Because this isn't good. And I thought, well, that's why I created that thing, well, I got it from somebody else. I'll give them their credit. It was Nicola Mann, POM, Poor Old Me. That's the tiny Russian doll. I was doing a behaviour called Poor Old Me. I was like I'm being the victim of the situation. My dad had been diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's, and he got another diagnosis of cancer. Oh God! And I think he had about 6 weeks to live. I thought, doesn't it get any worse, did it? Or couldn't it get any worse? Well, that diagnosis, like, what do you do? So I did the Russian doll technique in myself, and it really worked. But I thought, if I wasn't the tiny one, not good. But if I stepped out of that and remember the reality, which was he loved me. He still loves me. He's gone, but I remember all the good times I had with my father, all the times he cared about me. And even though I said on that podcast earlier, he was like a star. He was like a real strong man, but he was a gentle man who really cared about everybody, and he certainly cared about me.
Yeah.
And
you felt all that love when you stood in the bigger doll.
Well, I felt it when I was in the medium one and in the large. Yeah. All the things he's done for me over the years, it's amazing. It's on Amazon. Bestseller it wasn't for the first 2 weeks, apparently. Yeah.
For 2 weeks. But why do you think self-sabotage?
So if you look at the reviews on Amazon, they're all ex-clients, which is quite an endorsement, really. And they're there with the books, and they say, "Well, I've had sessions with them." You know what I mean?
So why do you think so many people struggle with self-sabotage?
Because they don't know they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a habit. It's something like, you know, what's a habit we do without even realising? Going to bed and sleeping on the same side every night, or brushing your teeth with your right hand. You know, it's so ingrained in us. We just don't know we're doing the sabbath. And people say, "Don't do that." Oh. And we do it again. Do you know what I mean? Like eat those crisps or whatever. But don't forget though, when we give ourselves the I am statement that I'm just a fat pig. Well, there you are. You can now eat all the crisps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you separate the identity from the behaviour, that's where we're heading. But the identity is a label we give ourselves. You know, the doctors are good at that. On it, I've got GDAD and I've got all this lot of jazz and some old label. I never believe in their labels. The most funny thing I heard, and if you're watching, I'm not taking the mickey out of you. One of my clients said, "My OCD is giving my ADHD anxiety." I said, "Does that mean you have to go charge 3 times?"
Yeah, 3 times, yes.
You know what's missing there? Something beginning with R. And they said, "What's R?" Responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love that. So, obviously, I mean, sort of people do you think you've worked with over the years? Derek, thousands?
8,000 was at last year.
Okay, so that's those people you've helped.
Over the last 12 years.
Is there one story out of all those clients that sticks with you, something that reminds you of why you do what you do? Have you one of those kind of clients that just...
There's several, there's so many, but... Okay, one recently was this client who smoked marijuana, or weed, for 31 years. Mm-hmm. I think 16 joints a night for 31 years, and then reduced it to 8, reduced it to 3, and now she's not doing it. And to see her flourish, when she first came, she couldn't even look me in the eye because she was like, I'm just not very confident, I can't look at you, I'm just not good enough. And then after, she's like, give me as good as I get, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really quite, it's amazing to see, and she's still like that. I do become friends with my clients, some of them. I do chat with them. Don't have that client. Or, I care about the people who I work with, and they want to remain in contact with me, it's fine. Because after the session, that's not, I've had your money go by. I generally care about their future, and they can contact me anytime they like.
Yeah, we're exactly the same here. My wife and I, we've had people come to the retreat, and they invite us to we have someone who came in the beginning of the year to do with trauma. And she said she was going to leave her husband to go and relocate to the Azores. Yeah. Beautiful place. So she came here, we dealt with her trauma, and she invited us. She said, once I'm in the Azores, I want you and your husband, or Kim and I, to come over and visit us. And we went in May. Yeah, that's nice. Because, like you said, we're just human beings helping someone change how they feel. Yeah. And we say people come to the retreat, you come as strangers, but you leave as friends. Yeah. And we get Christmas cards, birthday cards from people, because I don't believe in this kind of professional transference and passing it all on. Yeah, no, I don't. You've got to have some sort of, it's the rapport you have with the person, I think, that really matters. And if you think about all those clients that work really well with, you get great rapport with them. I don't know whether these come here, like, I've worked with them like a robot and they got a great change, you know. There's no fulfillment or joy. But when you connect with that person, that's what you're doing, connecting with them. Because when that person sat in that chair, not that I empathise with them, but I know what they're going through, because I've been through most of the stuff they have, to be honest. Yeah, yeah. And the classic was last year, I had this client that came to the retreat, and their anxiety and their fear was of their children getting ill and dying. 6 weeks previous to that, my son passed away. Oh, wow. Sorry to hear. So I said to him, that's strange that, because your fear is my reality. Wow. And it kind of, that was almost like a trigger for him to stop that behaviour. Because I lived it. Yeah. And it was like, he said, what the hell am I doing here? I said, if your son dies, it wouldn't affect my son. Because people often say to me, what's it like losing a child? I said, I don't know, but I know what it's like to lose mine. Yeah. So like I said, it's really good for people that bond. If you've gone through something, it's just wow. And your story can influence everybody, really, in a positive way. Yeah. Can I survive through that? Well, I'm living proof. Yeah.
It's like a little pattern interrupt. You interrupt their pattern. They went, oh, shit.
Oh, absolutely. It's, oh, shit. This, I'm sitting here with a guy who's lost his kid.
That was actually quite a poignant tune, because I play that to my clients now. Because when they do really parts integration, almost I just know the parts are going to... Just before it goes, I'll play that music. It's quite a profound track, because when we're actually free of our worries, we feel light. We just go... There's no concern. And all that stops us changing it is the concerning voice in our head. But imagine what it feels like if you didn't give a shit and you liked yourself.
So, quite a good question, I think, this one is, if you can go back and speak to that young man who's in the RAF, the one who was scared and hiding, what would you tell him now?
I'd say everything will happen in life for a reason. And everything you're going to experience will be for a reason. And one day you'll look back on this and think, it happened for a reason. And the reason is you found who you are. And you're good enough. No, you're more than good enough. Wouldn't that be cool?
You paid a lot of money to say that.
Well, really, yeah, I did. £165,000. But the value wasn't for me, it was for my clients, to be honest. I like to give value for money, that's all. Yeah.
So, if there's anyone listening, well, they will be listening, because I know they do, who's stuck in fear, shame, self-doubt, self-sabotage, what's the one step, Derek, do you think they can take today to begin moving forward?
I would say, no, you're not your condition. You're not your label. Whatever you've been labelled on by the doctor and stuff, and obviously if you're not psychotic and stuff, and you need 20 meds to get out of bed, but seriously, you're not your label. Learn to detach from it, and remember the version of you before you had this, because it's always in there, and your mind's doing what it's done. There's always a reason behind what you're doing. So ask yourself, in a quiet moment when you relax, what's missing for you that will allow you to be free of that behaviour or that condition? And something will come up. If you're saying, I don't know, just ask yourself, what is it you don't know that if you knew would allow you to be free from it?
I love that sentence. If you did know, what would it be?
You don't know because...
But this is the thing that even in the last 5 years, this label thing has become massive, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's become like a habit.
Yeah, and it's almost become, if you haven't got a label, then we're segregating you to a different part of society.
Yeah, like mental health is like, oh, that's the biggest thing ever, isn't it? That's my mental health. What's that then? I was actually looking at my career, because I used to take that during the Falklands, we was bringing troops back, wounded troops back from the Falklands. And I remember one day I thought, I couldn't get those pictures out of my head. So I'd say I had complex PTSD, but seriously, it happened for about 3 weeks. It's like because in those days it was like they were blown up in bloody landmines and stuff like that. Stomachs were removed.
Yep.
19-year-old kids, and I'd sort of spoon feed them on the plane for 17 hours. And that can be sort of mental torture.
Absolutely.
So, and I remember one lad said, do you think my missus will still love me when I get home?
What's next for you? Any new projects or books or anything in the horizon? Are you going to do...
I may do book number 2.
Right.
Which would be a bit expanded version on the first one. But it would just be like, because one thing that was well received, because if you look at that book, it's like, have you seen the book or you read the book? No,
I haven't. I will go and look.
Techniques in it. It shows me how I work with clients. They're all true stories, but it shows you how they were before, how they are, and how they got to where they were. It's a quite good read. People like it anyway. And if you don't like reading, it's an audible version as well. But even there's a Russian doll technique inside the audible version.
Right. Okay. And do you teach it in the audible version? If someone bought the book, could they follow through?
Yeah, you can, on the audible version, I think there's they can follow through of me doing the Russian doll technique with them.
Nice.
It's only about £10, rather than buying the course. It costs about 300. You buy the course, I think it's about 200. So you can actually get a free session with me, which still stands me showing them how to do the Russian doll technique. That's good value for money, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's a bargain, I think. Yeah. So that's one of your projects coming up, thinking about writing a book. If people wanted to work with you, Derek, how do we get hold of you on social medias or websites, or promote yourself a bit?
If you Google my name, Derek Chapman, Mind Coach, it will come up somewhere, whether on YouTube or on my website, grimsbyhypnotherapy.co.uk. I'm based in Grimsby, but I see clients worldwide. You said what's coming up? I'm doing 2 conferences next year. One's at the ICBCH, that's on Zoom in January, and the other one I've applied to speak at the Hypnosis Convention, Hypnothoughts in July the 13th or 17th, those dates. So when I'm accepted, you'll see me in Vegas.
Yes.
I've been there a few times, but never spoke. Yeah.
So, and as you said, Derek, you're mid-60s, whatever, you can see yourself doing this to the day you die, just love helping people.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can see myself doing it until I die.
Yeah.
As long as my brain works, I should still be there. It doesn't matter about the body. If the brain's okay, they can wheel me in on a chair. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for chatting with me for an hour or so about hypnotherapy, and you join how you come to this work of change work and how people can contact you.
That was my most candid interview, actually. I haven't given all those secrets away.
Ah, there you go.
You heard it here first, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Derek, your final track. I'm so excited by the Pointer Sisters. What made you choose that one?
I think it's what people tend to do in life. We focus on what we get in life is what we focus on, don't we? And not a lot of people focus on this, but what that record inspires me is joy. It makes you feel joy. Listen to that record. I'm so excited and trying to get depressed.
That's what I say to people, yeah. Think of two emotions. Think of a bit of happy thought and a sad thought at the same time. You can't do it. It's just...
But we're programmed human beings are programmed to focus on what they've screwed up on life, and they think, oh, I messed up on that one, I messed up, and we focus on that and we forget what we've actually achieved or what we can achieve.